we are happy Monday, everybody. I'm Ann DeVere, and there's my partner in crime over here.
Sherry Sotelo.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope you guys had a fabulous weekend. I know that Sherry had an awesome. Why don't you share with us what you did this past weekend, Sherry?
I held a ladies retreat in Lake Tahoe. It was amazing, a 48-hour whirlwind to actually match a lot of what we were going to talk about today, which is expectations and tolerance. And so gathered a lovely set of professionals and we worked it all out and made all new ways to go home feeling happy and rejuvenated. And boy, does it fit this whole forum, the happy, joyful, and free with
Yeah.
all new perspectives. So,
Mm.
yes, it was an amazing time. And that was the first one there. More to come, but I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, well, I was sorry. I am sorry that I did miss it. However, I just couldn't make it this weekend. And Sherry actually promised she'll be doing one in LA. So we'll see,
Hmm.
Anyway, so let's get to it. Risk tolerance, expectations. I don't know about all of you out there, but a lot of my pain, a lot of my disappointments, and all the reasons why I would do some of the things I did, whether it was the eating or whether it was the drinking, whether whatever, shopping. A lot of it had to do because people just didn't meet my expectations. It was all about people. And also, I didn't meet my own expectations at times. So it's really, really important for us to actually, I think, be aware. And that's why I'm super excited about what Sherry is doing right now as far as the information she's going to be sharing with us. And, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. So, Sherry, let's get to it. Let's get to it. What about expectations? So, tell me all about our expectations. What's wrong with our expectations?
Well, that's part of the problem is how are we going to set up the win if our expectations are high and our tolerance is low? But we have to sit and go back and reflect once again our three primal components, which is our physical and then our cognitive and then our emotional. And like you said, when things let you down, when your expectations were not met, you had all kinds of things going on for you, whether it was social withdrawal, whether it was battered relationships that came up, just the self-deprecating statements, because expectations is going to absolutely set us up either for the win or for the fail. Well, and the thing about the fail is that it's always good too, because with failures, we learn what not to do. And of course, we learn what then to do. So we're going to take it right from the top. And how does expectations and tolerance affect our physical component? Well, I think we know this one, our immune system, our physical fatigue. If we're going to fund our physical wellness properly, and here comes in that money aspect, then we're going to take the time to make sure we care for all of the factors that are involved, or we're going to pay the price of illness. And for those of us that are entrepreneurs and coaches and business people, can we really afford to have our body fail on us when we need to be in that grind all the time? And so we look at how does chronic stress affect us as professionals? Well, chronic stress is an immune system killer. It absolutely goes into the cortisol release, eats us from the inside out. And Anne has put this out on previous episodes that she really wants to lose weight. Well, we know that cortisol and weight gain go hand in hand. So we want to make sure we keep everything on our stress levels in the best place possible. But finances are such a major stress factor for everybody that's adulting, whether business professional or stay at home parent. Finances come our way because we have to survive. That's our primal needs being met. But when the physical fatigue compromises our intellectual wellness, it also decreases our occupational performance. And so this is why this is such an important topic to start off our happy Monday, our working Mondays out with, because how is the rest of our week going to play out physically? If we walked in and slumped over, go, oh man, it's Monday. I don't want to do this. Here, my weekend was too short. I need another Sunday junior just to get myself myself geared up to physically walk through that door and put my best foot forward. That mindset right there is what sets us up to not have the best winning week. So how we attack Monday is going to be really, really important in from our physical component more than anywhere else. Our overall physical wellness is created with a healthy balance of stress management and self care. So, what are you doing to invest in your well being? This is part of that expectation. If you can expect yourself to come in at your best, are you going to tolerate anything less? And so, Anne, how did you come in this Monday?
I actually came in pretty powered up this Monday. I woke up super early. As a matter of fact, I went for my walk before it was even daylight. I watched the sun come up, so it was pretty cool. So my attitude is good. My expectations, well, I have to manage them because when I'm in a creative mode, I have to go above and beyond in what I'm expecting. And I guess the adrenaline going and all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty cool actually. But something came to mind. I'm of the age right now where I get to actually look at the possibilities for the first time in my life about Medicare options. And let me tell you, it's confusing as heck because what they do is they give you all these different options, and you're supposed to choose um, based on how sick do you think you're going to be down the road? And all of that depends on how you take care of yourself today, right? And so, um, being in this conversation for a while, I am actually looking at how are people responding to stress, because as Sherry was saying, it's a big part of our energy level. It's a big part of our health. Excuse me. So, um, losing my voice again. It's an inside joke over here. When I lose my voice, there's something I want to say. But yeah, so what I want to say is that you guys, you know, I don't want to be afraid of the future. I want to take care of myself today so I can be confident that I have good practices for the future, that there will be sufficient amount of money to take care of myself. So I am taking care of myself today. That's kind of what Sherry was going after. And I look at the supplements I use and all kinds of stuff, right? So Sherry, you had said something about either we pay now or we pay later. So let's
Mm-hmm.
cover that a little bit more because that's kind of what our entire society is talking about right now. Everything is about, well, you need to use this supplement, you can't
Mm-hmm.
use that. Everything is like, oh, the latest breakthrough, if you don't take it now, you're gonna be, it's crazy what's going on. So how
The
do we manage
oh,
it?
woe is me. I'm never going to survive if I don't have this product and this product and this product and this product and
Yeah.
this face cream and this car and this everything. And so this actually goes right in perfectly to that second place, which is the cognitive space. So our perception of ability and capacity, our financial success really depends on our outlook. And it is like what you were asking is, how can we create this mindset of our future is going to depend on it? How do we not let it basically take us down because we feel like, oh no, what's the possibility of us being a workhorse for the rest of our life? We were having this conversation this morning. You know, I don't want to do this 20 years from now. I want to be able to create this perpetual and residual income and have it just flow so that I can go and do the things that I want to do, the things that's going to make my body feel free. Well, so much about that happens right now. And that happens right now for every one of us. When we wake up on our Monday mornings and we get ready to start our day, we have to ask ourselves, what do we think we can do this week? What do we think we can accomplish? What can I make sure is going to influence my motivation? Well, self efficacy really is what fuels us. And that's that our belief in we can go and do something. And we are expecting ourselves and this is where coming in with realistic expectations, if we can expect ourselves to show up for work every day and do the very best that we can with all the resources that we have, and we're really tolerant to the fact that, hey, mistakes can happen and things outside of my control are literally outside of my control, then I'm going to be, well on my way to having a successful week and maybe even throw in some future planning. And so that's really where, from home to office or home to computer, if you're remote working, really allows you to say, okay, the interplay between my occupational wellness, job satisfaction, and performance has to do with what I believe I can accomplish. And that's also where our intellectual wellness influences our lifelong learning and fuels us to drive to seek further success. And I mean, unless you're completely just content, which I don't know many adults that are totally 100% content with where they're at in this moment and have no forward or future thinking plans, that, oh, I'm not going to have to get up and go on Mondays anymore. I'm going to have like 6.5 Sundays in a row and it's going to be awesome. That's the goal, right? If you think that you're going to even get an extra, you know, Saturday, 3-day weekend, 4-day weekend, then yes, you're operating the way that we are, and or what I'm mentioning in that perception and of ability and capacity. And so that's really how, okay, we one foot in front of the other, leading into how do we see our expectations? How do we judge our tolerance? And so, how do we get there?
Okay. So actually, I love all the things you said. I want to unpack it a little bit. So we're setting it up for the win. I know the way I set up for the win. I'm actually a really good planner. I create programs, I do events and all that. So you have to plan. I mean, just to make a meal, we have to plan, right? So
Mhm.
everything is about planning. Now, for me, the expectation aspect of it is, how do I want to feel? What do I want to have? What do I want to do at the end result? I always like, what is it? And then I look at, what can I do to ensure that will happen? And then what can I do? What things do I take a chance on? Or maybe a few chances on? That's my way of doing it, setting up for the win. Because if I do that, if I know, let's GPS, right? We put in the end, where we want to go to the destination. It gives us a few different options, that are similar, or it gives us maybe, oh, there's an accident on this one. Don't go here, go there. So the GPS finds the best way for us to get there. A lot of times we have a few different options. All of them are good, but it depends on where my risk tolerance is. Sometimes I don't feel like going on a freeway. I don't like driving at night that much anymore. So I turn off the highway, right? So what is my tolerance based on who I am today versus 5 years ago, or maybe even 10 years from now? So looking at the big picture, this is the way I set out for the win. That's what Sherry was talking about. We were meeting earlier today. We're like, well, I don't want to be doing this 20 years from now. I don't want to be doing this 5 years from now, the way we're working. We have all this energy fired out by the program. So, how do we set up so we are serving many with the least amount of stress on us? So, what are you doing? How are you? So, this is the cognitive part. A lot of brain power, let me tell
Mhm.
you. Yeah. So we covered the physical. You take care of yourself now, rest, eat, do all the things you need to do. And then we covered the cognitive part where, okay, decide ahead of time, know thyself, right?
Yes.
What's going to work for you and what is out of your comfort zone. And by the way, don't let others take you out of your comfort zone. You get to choose if you want to take a risk. I know for me, every time I have allowed somebody else to push me out of my comfort zone, I had to zigzag a little bit because I'm a risk taker anyway. So for me, it was fairly easy to just like jump. But so, what is your risk tolerance? What's your comfort zone? And actually, they usually say whenever you're doing something new, it's 80% your comfort and 20% risk. Sherry, have you heard that? And what are your thoughts on that? How do we get out of our comfort zone and get into risking a little bit?
Oh boy, this is a super, super winning topic because I get this question as a clinician all the time. But it just felt so comfortable. It's my comfort zone. Well, if your comfort zone was chaos and you've learned to only ever navigate chaos, is your comfort zone the what place that you want to be in? Sometimes being in the uncomfortable area is the healthy area. Well, and this goes along in business. We're not going to continue up the ladder and continue growth being exactly where we've always been, because where we've always been is comfortable. We don't want that. Not, I think, not in the topic of money. Although some, sure, absolutely, you could be comfortable and just staying there. But to come out of your comfort zone, you have to do a couple of things. And so, what does that mean? Dealing with our frustration of the wild unknown, this brand new territory. And if we're taking this in terms of business aspect and in the money aspect, when we are much like Ann and I here, whether it's in coaching or in other private practices or in our businesses, we're looking at money comes from the masses. And so if we only operate with people we're comfortable with, is that going to produce exactly what we wanted in our goal? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. And so, are we going to work into those frustrations and hold ourselves down? Or are we going to come out of our comfort zone and adjust our tolerance level and adjust our expectations, even if that sometimes, you know, renders us a bit of a heel to other people because we can push and we can suggest and we can advise and we can get other people out of their comfort zones also, and have to do that with a bit of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, hey, if we're going to be uncomfortable, let's be uncomfortable together because then we're all going to succeed this way. Why not?
Yeah. So expanding our comfort zone and inviting others to join us in our expanded comfort zone. That's a cognitive decision, you know. So what does that do to us emotionally? It's like, oh my
Yeah,
God, jumping off the cliff. Do I
that's the
have a
anxiety
parachute?
and that's the frustration. And it's the you walking that line. The this doesn't feel good. I don't
Yeah.
know how this feels to me, but I know I need to feel something different. And so that's where that cognitive and emotion, this is why they work hand in hand. But they ride that line together and it's like, okay, yep, I'm feeling all kinds of ways about this. But that's going to, again, if you have your expectations and your tolerance in check, your actual motivation is going to rise to the occasion. We feel like we can accomplish these things. It sends us on this emotional roller coaster of, maybe a slow start to, ooh, the really hard drive up, and then that exciting climax. And then we're going for it. We're just going for it. We don't know what's at the bottom. We don't know when it's going to twist or turn or how fast this thing is going, but it's taking us for a ride and we'll be okay. Why? Because, I'm going to not stress out over it. I'm not going to create or allow everybody else's feelings and their opinions and their inputs go ahead and dictate how I'm going to feel about this and how I'm going to come up to my next situation with strength and a new level of expectation that I can accomplish these things with a whole lot of tolerance for the stuff that's, again, out of my control. And since all of us here, again, with the business ownership in mind or business model in mind, is that we base our businesses on interactions with other people. And if we become and we grow more tolerant, we are going to develop this resilience, this emotional resilience that turns our perception of others as more engaging opportunities rather than just an activity that we have to tolerate or the thing that we have to get through. It's our
Mhm.
Monday.
So we
So,
start. So we start with ourselves and engage others.
mhm,
And I know that I have different ways of dealing with expanding my comfort zone. You know, we talked about this in earlier episodes, fear and faith. And if you guys watching this, if you haven't seen that episode yet, please go ahead and watch it. It's fear and faith. And so knowing where I am, if I'm in a fear mode and I really want to do something, I know that I need to switch over to faith. Okay. Now, jumping off the cliff point, if you will, you know, getting on the road, getting out there, doing what I'm supposed to do, whatever it is that it looks like, or starting a new business, leaving a job, is to do making a major life decision with a personal or relationships or financial, anything like that. Um, Whenever it feels too scary, my go-to is going inward. My go-to is meditation. And so it's kind of even hard to explain, but whenever I am thinking about something, I have a question. All I do is ask the question and then I'm quiet. Somehow I just know, I just call it a knowing. So for me, going from physical to cognitive, making a decision, and then going into the emotional, oh my God, this is what I feel. Let myself feel it. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's take it to our source. That's when I become quiet and just think about it. And it never fails. It never, ever, ever fails. And the best part about it is that even if something does not meet my expectations, I know it's evolving. I know there's always something I can do. There's always another way to go through. So, this is how I manage, you know, from physical to cognitive to emotional to spiritual. And so, each one of us processes things, we process things in different ways. So, what is your way of processing? Do you know it? Do you know it? What do you heavily lean into? I would like to know if you want to, you know, leave a comment or two for us. That would be fabulous. So, Sherry, back over to you as we wrap this up and setting ourselves up for the win. What do we need to do for the physical, cognitive, emotional, and spiritual? So let's wrap this up and deliver.
Okay, so if you want to win in this mind game that you have and in this lovely world that we live in, first, adjust that expectation of, hey, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm not capable of. I know what work I'm willing to put in and what work I'm not exactly ready for. And let me work from a stress management perspective so that we don't become physically exhausted because then we'll tap out before we hit those goals. Then developing the tolerance for, oh, I can only do so much because guess what? There's only 24 hours in a day. Even though some believe I have 37 hours in each day of mine, there's only 24 hours. So raise that tolerance up a bit so that you don't have to get frustrated right away. And then from that cognitive space, go ahead and understand exactly what you're capable of, what your abilities are, and allow that to fuel your motivation. So, when you know that you are doing everything you can to the best of your ability and your expectations are right on the mark and that tolerance level is right there to win, then you're going to go all in for it, or you're going to go get that information that you need to get that win. And then finally, from that emotional perspective, the what do we feel? How are we feeling about these expectations that we place on ourselves, that we place on others? If we can just bring those back down to, hey, what is realistic, attainable, and goal oriented, then I'll absolutely feel good about what I'm doing in every single step. And that is our three places to go with expectations and tolerance to get us moving and shaking.
There we go, folks. Okay. So, what is your risk tolerance versus your expectations? And we got a few things that, you know, for you to think about. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. And we will see you here tomorrow as we continue all about getting out there and making an impact, first and foremost, in our lives. So, we are happy, joyful, and free. And then, but that also rolls over to other people. When we do the things we love to do, it impacts our family, it impacts our community, impacts many people. We don't even know who they are because there is a ripple effect. Like right now, what we're sharing right here, people across the globe will be watching this, whether it's
Mhm.
today live or it's years down the road, because once we create something, it's out there, it does stay out there. It does impact people's lives. So, what's your risk tolerance? Do you want to go out there and share what you're doing? Oh, you need to switch your mindset a little bit. Think about it and let us know. Okay, so with that, Sherry, thank you so much again. Just love doing this with you.
Oh,
And
thank you.
thank you. Bye, everybody. We will see you next time. Let's see now.